On a planet very different from Earth live a species of aliens called Boos. However, O and his colleagues want to move to a new planet where humans live. Captain Smack makes an announcement in front of the entire population but ends up driving the platform out of control. The species must flee from their predator and enemies, Thegorgans, who are sinister creatures. Planet Earth is the best place to hide from evil beings in the Milky Way, and there are many interesting objects for beings from other planets, such as footballs. When they see a human baby on the big screen, all the Boos change the color of their skin as they are amazed. Soon afterwards, the aliens' aircraft sets off in the direction of Earth. When they land on Earth, they announce their arrival and claim that they have temporarily disabled gravity, causing all objects and people to start floating. Instantly, red bubbles start popping up and blowing holes in throughs and everything they touch. Then giant pipes start pulling people into an airship containing a pool of balls. All the people are taken to the city of humans, leaving planet Earth free for the aliens on the old planet. The aliens didn't have neighbors because the houses were each allocated to a hill. Now, O is excited to meet his building mates and is throwing a housewarming party. The little monster organizes his house and even makes recipes with screws and decorates the place, waiting anxiously for his new friends to arrive in the city streets. Everything is deserted. On the other hand, a cat sneaks through one of the apartments until it reaches a makeshift HUD where a girl is hiding as she is watching videos on her computer. Tip notices that there is a tremor in the area, so she unplugs the device from the mains and looks out of the window at the street. Realizing that it is full of aliens faced with this situation, she decides not to wait any longer for her mother to come home and prepares to flee the place. However, Tip stops for a moment and realizes that the little monster is invading the house, and he stumbles into a trap which triggers a camera flash. He then steps on a dance mat, causing other devices to be activated and thousands of glitter to fall on him. In this way, the girl mocks him while hiding and then leaves the house via the fire escape. The girl and her pet get into a car that was hidden, so she drives off in search of her mother. Later, O is about to arrive at his house and his neighbors notice, so they try to keep him quiet so that he doesn't notice their presence. But the poor little creature enters the house and feels sad because no one has shown up for his welcome party the next day. Kyle is doing his job in traffic, so the boy him to his party, but he ends up sending the invitation along with the coordinates of his house to all the boobs there are the traffic warden. Claims that not only his kind will receive the email, but all his enemies will also know his location, which causes all the alien citizens to unite against the little guy. So he gets into a mini aircraft and flees, asking the autopilot to take him to a place where there are no living beings, and the robot suggests that the only place like that isn't. However, the device is very intelligent and decides not to guide him anymore as it receives commands that O is a fugitive, so it starts to self-destruct, causing the pilot to fall into the street. The Boo then hides in a lamp store but ends up turning on all the lampshades, causing his shadow to become huge, like that of a giant monster, which scares Tip, who is driving by in the next street. The alien then goes outside the store and hides in the trash cans, but the metals are pulled out by the alien magnets. At the same time, the girl tried to escape by entering an establishment where O also decides to hide inside. The kitten notices the presence of an alien, so its owner chases it and is startled to suddenly come across the creature pushing it into a freezer. O threatens to fire lasers at her even though he has no weapon to do so. Even so, the girl knows he can't attack her and manages to stay calm in the face of this. He continues to beg to be released. At that moment, Tip remembers the day her mother was abducted and that the girl was only saved because her cat was on top of her head. Because of this, she was scanned as a non-human lifeform, which the Boos have no interest in, so the teenager blames all the aliens for separating from her mother. After the memory, she decides to leave the little monster locked inside the refrigerator and leaves the store. Tip tries to start her car, but it doesn't work, so she returns to the store while broadcasting. Captain Smack tells everyone that every Boo life is doomed thanks to O's mistake, as their enemies have managed to find them faced with the situation. He invites his community strategists to come up with a plan. One of them says that they can make an alternative reality in which Thegorgans don't exist, but to create it using current technology, they need 7 million years. Another idea would be for each of them to pretend to be eliminated in order to throw off their opponent. On the other hand, they can also try to hack fugitives' email and cancel the sending so that the enemies never receive the invitation with the coordinates. However, they realize that O is the only one of their kind with a unique password, so they can't access his email in the invitation to the party. He gives instructions on which way to go in the Milky Way, even mentioning that his best friend Kyle will be there, but the traffic controller says he doesn't know the alien. But Captain Smack orders him to find the fugitive. At the same time, O repairs the girl's car and adds various bubble-blowing trinkets and a scratch card machine to the automobile. The young woman gets into the car, intending to leave her partner behind, but he clings to the window of the vehicle as it begins to float. Tip loses control of the steering wheel and goes into reverse, causing the animal to be thrown away. He gets up and tells her that he knows where her mother is being held, as he can get this information from the Boo's Central Command in Paris. Suddenly, some alien police vehicles approach, so the young woman rushes and speeds up her car, and the two of them head for France during the trip. He tries to adjust the GPS to go to Antarctica without his colleague noticing, but the girl realizes his plan and changes the destination to Paris again. Piggy, the girl's pet cat, accompanies them on this mission and climbs on the alien's head, playing with it. Then O tells the legend of the captain's staff a long time ago, Fegergans. And the Boos held a peace meeting. However, Smack fled in fear and took one of the enemy's trophies with him, which is the magic staff he uses to manipulate the other citizens. Meanwhile, Kyle finds the fugitives' footprints and uses his technological devices to track them down. On the other hand, O and the young woman are calmly driving along until they notice the police patrol up ahead. They hide behind the Statue of Liberty, which is now shaped like an alien. During the journey, the little monster notices that there are bubbles with his wanted photograph all over the place, so he uses a mirror to reflect the light onto the girl so she can't see the posters or discover that she's traveling with the fugitive. After a quick stop, the girl goes to the toilet and O returns to the car alone, intending to go to Antarctica without her. However, the alien is surprised by Kyle, who points a gun at him. At that moment, the traffic warden is shot by dozens of cans that fall on him after Tip pushes them away. On the other hand, the teenager is also furious with her partner as she realizes that he is lying due to the greenish color his skin takes on when he does this. She tries to grab the little one inside the car, then starts to wrap a tape around him. At the same time, the car's technological devices are activated, and an electric popcorn popper throws popcorn at Kyle from outside after tying the creature to the seat. The girl drives the car out of control, and a cheese machine throws cheddar at the traffic warden. In the middle of the confusion, he loses his magic ring, which causes bubbles to shoot towards the fuel tank, causing a giant explosion due to the flammable liquid. Later that day, Captain Smack is surprised by Kyle, who claims that he hasn't been able to recover his fugitive friend's password during the journey. Tip turns on the radio, and the music makes the creature dance against his will. He gets so carried away that he loses control and falls into the sea. After a while, O returns to the surface, but is kicked by his friend, who tells him that he can't disappear for too long, as she was worried about his whereabouts. Meanwhile, Captain Smack asks the traffic warden to come up with a plan to find the fugitive's password, so he suggests that they type in random numbers and letters until they find the right combination. At the same time, the young woman worries about the situation of the humans, since enemies could be coming to Earth at that very moment. On the other hand, the alien believes that his companions will make up for his mistake, even if he has already exceeded the limit of 9 mistakes since he has already made 62. When they arrive in Paris, they realize that the city is full of boobs, and the Eiffel Tower is floating on some kind of island. Tip has the idea of sneaking into the city and going to the tower to find her mother, but the little alien can be easily recognized by any of his kind. Faced with this impasse, the girl begins to apply makeup to disguise him, making him super excited with a simple dot on his face. Afterwards, they board an express elevator. As he passes dozens of his kind, O feels nervous, but is not recognized by anyone. When they reach the main room, they come across the great minds of the aliens, and the little monsters realizes that his colleagues haven't yet discovered his password, making him even more desperate. They enter some kind of chamber, and some wires connect to their ears, making their heads move like jelly. After a few moments, they are transported to another reality, where the little one tries to guess his own password. He manages to find out the password when the Gorgons receive the invitation, but they can't open the email because it was cancelled in time. The little alien then uses the boot technology to search for Lucy Tip's mother, then discovers that she is in Australia looking for the girl. The two go outside the establishment. Then O realizes that his cover has been blown, as all the citizens point a gun at him as soon as they see him, even with the ward makeup. The computer was able to recognize his wanted face. After all the aliens surround him, the captain orders the guards to point the bubble gun at the fugitive. Faced with the situation, the girl threatens to tamper with the gravitational technology holding up the Eiffel Tower platform. At the same moment, she fiddles with the equipment, causing the floating tower to turn upside down, and then all the Ian who were up there start to fall one by one. Topolina grabs her friend who is about to fall, but Ian asks her to let him go. In doing so, the two enter a bubble aircraft, causing Kyle to be thrown out of the vehicle. So he also enters another bubble, but ends up being pulled out by MC, who suddenly appears. The young woman drives the capsule out of control. Then the bubble bursts, and they are thrown over the tower. While being chased by the Boo guards, the pair reach the end of the cliff and hold onto the edge, at which point the tower moves upside down until they collide with a giant ball of debris floating in the sky. They end up falling on top of a statue of a horse and realize that the tower is coming towards them, destroying everything in its path. They then run into a building and bump into Kyle. At that moment, O touches his friend's aircraft, causing it to be deactivated because he is still wanted. However, the tower continues to approach them faster and faster, but the pair narrowly escaped being crushed. Even so, they managed to escape by car to a more isolated location where the monster apologized to the girl for having invaded her planet, telling her that he and all the rest of the Boo citizens were deceived by SMC, who made them believe that humans were an unevolved species and that they needed alien technology. During the journey, the little alien drives while his friend rests, but he ends up falling asleep, and Tip wakes up to realize that they are surrounded by thousands of aliens. However, the creatures aren't attacking them or even chasing them, so the pair of friends realize that in fact everyone is running away. Then they come across the Gorgon's technological machines, which start attacking everything in their path. O prepares the car's weapon system, then starts throwing burrito bombs at the nearest enemy, causing their aircraft to explode. They drive at full throttle towards a hill and land in an uncontrolled manner, crashing the vehicle into a rock. Then the girl realizes that all the liquid from the scratch card has fallen out, and the car stops working, instantly preventing her from traveling to Australia. However, the teenager realizes that there is a Gorgon ship very close by, so she has the idea of going after its equipment to try to fix her car. Even though O is very afraid of being discovered, they approach the aircraft, stealthily holding a simple tree branch to defend themselves, even so there are no enemies on the ground. Faced with this, the little alien begins to tinker with the ship and finds a super Gorgon chip which can make Boo's machines more technological, and Strongero uses the magic object to fix the car, which works in the same minute, and they're off at full speed soon after they arrive at the human city, which is teeming with people and aliens. When he realizes that all his people are leaving, the boy tries to trick the girl into getting into a vehicle with him and leaving town because the Gorgon mothership will soon arrive to destroy planet Earth. However, the girl refuses to run away and abandon her mother in that place, so Tip tells the alien that he was never her friend because all he's thinking about is running away. Despite feeling hurt, he rushes to the aircraft to escape with his companions. The little monster manages to reach the main vehicle of its kind. However, the opponent's mothership finds them minutes later. All the aliens hide away from danger, but O tries to use the Gorgon superchip in the control center of his spaceship, which makes it fly at high speed away from the opponent. When they realize that the fugitive has done something incredible and brave, all the Boos are impressed by his courage in stealing the object that helped them escape. O talks about his friendship with the human girl, then Captain SMC threatens him with his staff. However, Kyle defends his friend by saying that they need a new leader, passing the magic baton to the fugitive at the same time. The girl keeps looking for her mother in the crowd of people, but she can't find her anywhere. The young woman feels very sad but is surprised by her partner, who makes her happy again, even though he has abandoned her. At the same time, he uses his GPS device to help her locate her mother. They follow the path between people, and the teenager comes across Lucy, so mother and daughter hug for a moment. The alien realizes that the magic staff is all the Gorgon need. He then opens the stone and observes its contents, concluding that the enemies really just want back the object. The Boo stole the opponent's mothership, lands in the human city, and O puts Tip and her mother in the car, locking them inside so that they are safe and he can face the enemies without distractions. Once the vehicle has floated to safety, the little one picks up the precious stone and heads towards the giant ship, which advances towards him, destroying everything in its path. Realizing that they won't see the alien on the ground, the girl uses the reflection of a mirror to get the driver's attention. Then the Gorgon realizes that there is someone down there and breaks the giant machine, even so the ship is very large and opens up huge cracks in the ground around the creature, leaving it with no way out while the vehicle is still advancing. Faced with this situation, Tip tries to break her car, causing it to fall to the ground, so she runs towards her friend, who is about to be crushed by the giant machine. The girl can't get there in time to save him. Despite being swallowed up by the aircraft, he manages to throw the stone from his staff to his friend. Topolina mourns the loss of O, but a few minutes later, the Gorgon machine returns, revealing that the little monster is still alive. A huge creature with bizarre tentacles appears before them, so the little one hands it the magic stone. The giant monster's armor opens up, revealing a fluffy starfish that opens up the precious rock, where tiny creatures of its kind can be found. In fact, these are the babies of the next generation, making the object the most important of its kind, as there is only one surviving Gorgon left, leaving them totally dependent on the stone. Finally, everyone celebrates the end of the war, and after 2 weeks, humans and Boos live together in harmony at OH's welcome party in outer space. Countless airplanes are heading towards Earth because of the new party invitation sent by the little alien Boo. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment.